Hello viewers, good morning. You are welcome to my YouTube channel, The Explicit Tutorials. As you all know, my name is Tutor Joseph. Please, as you're watching this video, endeavor to subscribe, like, share, and comment. In today's video, I shall be taking us a topic called glandular tissue in AEB 122. Now, in our previous class, we dealt with the various functions of the epithelial tissue. Now, I told you that the epithelial tissue found covering the interior part of the surface of the interior organ is called what? An endothelium. All right. So please, we have different functions of what? The epithelial tissue. I say we have protection. We have secretion. We have sensation. We have diffusion. We have cleaning. We have reduction of friction. Okay, so these are the osmosis is not among according to what the textbook says. You have protection, secretion, sensation, diffusion, cleaning, reduction of what? Friction. These are the functions of what? The epithelial tissue. Now, the epithelial tissue can be modified to form what? Glands. The epithelial tissue is modified to form what? Glands. You know, glands are made up of different cells and tissues, and they are responsible for the secretion of what? Useful substances. The substance they secrete or they produce is called what? Secretions. Secretions are different from what? Excretions. Okay, so that is how it is. Now, we have different types of glands. We have the pancreas, we have the pituitary gland, we have the parotid gland, we have the thyroid gland, we have the adrenal gland, we have the testes, and you have a lot of them, as many as you want. Even what's it called now? Neobama gland, right? They are all glands. Okay, but in today's video, we are going to be discussing glandular tissue. Now, glandular tissue is divided into different types based on what? 5 criteria. Glandular tissue is divided into different categories based on how many criteria? 5 criteria. Now, the first criterion glandular tissue is divided into is number of secretory cells. Number of what? Secretory cells. Under number of secretory cells, we have unicellular. Okay, or number of secretory glands. Let's use glands rather. Number of secretory what? Glands. We have unicellular glands. Now, these unicellular glands has just one type of what? Gland. That is, the glands are not just more than one, you only have one. A good example of a unicellular gland is the globate cells. The globate cells have the ability to what? Secrete mucus. Now, number 2, under, please, goblet cells is an example of which of these unicellular what? Glands. Then number 2, under number of secreting glands is what? Multicellular glands. Now, as the name implies, multi, it has 1, 2 or more what? Glands. A good example is one found in the stomach and uterus. Whereas stomach, the gland found in the stomach and uterus is what? Multicellular in nature. Okay, so this is the first criterion. Unicellular, you have goblet cell, and you have what? Multicellular. Please, before I take this, I would have dropped something before. Now, we have 2 types of glands. Okay, let me just continue, treat it. The number 2 criteria is based on what? Nature of secretion. Nature of what? Secretion. Under nature of secretion, we have what? Serous, we have mucus, we have mist, and we have what? We have what? Miscellaneous. Now these are the four subdivisions of what? Nature of what? Secretion. Now the serous gland, example of a serous gland, they are actually gland that produce what? Serous, okay? Now this gland, they provide what? Protection. Now example of a serous gland is pancreas and the parotid salivary gland. All right, please don't get confused. Example of a serous type of gland is the pancreas and what? Parotid salivary what? Gland. Now you don't have mucus. Mucus gland produces what is called what? Mucin. Mucin is actually a lubricating viscous substance that provide protection, provide protection on the walls of what? The stomach. Example of this mucous gland, we can say the gland that is the gland found in the what? Stomach, okay? Then you now have mist gland. Mist gland is one that possesses both serous and what? Mucous gland, which means that the combination of the serous and mucous gland produce what? Mist gland. Please, the combination of the serous gland and the mucous gland produce what? Mist gland. We now have what? Miscellaneous gland. Miscellaneous gland is a gland that produces secretions that are different from every other what? Secretions. Example is a lactating mammary gland. All right, lactating mammary gland. We have the sebaceous gland, as well as the ceruminous gland. This ceruminous gland is found in the outer part of the what? Acoustic ear, at the outer part of what? The ear. So please, example of serous gland is the pancreas and what? Parotid salivary gland. Mucus is the one found in the stomach and it produces what? A mucin. Mist gland is made up of serous gland and what? Mucous gland. Miscellaneous gland, they are glands that produce secretions different from every other gland. Examples are what you have here. Now this is number 2 criteria, okay? Now number 3 criteria is the mechanism. Is the mechanism of what? Secretion. Mechanism of what? Secretion. Mechanism of secretion. Now under mechanism of secretion, which is number 3, under mechanism of secretion, you have three categories. We have 1, the merocrine. 2, we have the apocrine. And 3, we have the holocrine. So which means that we can say that the merocrine, the apocrine, and the holocrine are subdivisions of mechanism of what? Secretion. But serous, mucous, mist, and miscellaneous are under what? Nature of what? Secretion. Be very, very careful. Now, the merocrine is the most common type of what? Secretion. Is the most common type of what? Secretion. Example of merocrine is found in the serous and mucous and serous glands. Serous and mucous glands are example of what? Merocrine gland. So the serous and the mucin produced by these glands are under what? Merocrine, and it is the most common type of what? Gland that is under mechanism of what? Secretion. We now have what? The apocrine gland. This apocrine gland is found in places such as the armpit region is found in places such as the armpit region, the pubic region, the nipples of the breast, nipples of the breast, nipples of the breast. Which one again? I think it's also found. Okay, now, no. I think armpits, pubic, and nipples of the breast. That is where you have what? The apocrine gland. The apocrine what? Gland. Now, there are features of this apocrine gland. There are features of this apocrine gland. One, it is very, very active. It is functional. It is functional at what? Puberty. It is what? Functional at what? Puberty. Two, it responds to emotional and it responds to what? Emotional and what? Sensational. Okay, how do I put it now? Okay, it acts. Let me put it that way. It acts on emotional and what? Sensational what? Response. It acts on what? It acts on emotional and what? Sensational what? Response. 3. Okay. It is found. The sebaceous gland has this type of secretion. This type of what? Secretion. Sebaceous gland. You know, sebaceous gland is that gland that produces water, an oily substance called what? Sebum. It's also found in what? In the ceruminous what? Gland. So these are which of these is not a feature of the apocrine gland? It is functional at puberty. It is very, very active at what? Puberty. It acts on emotional and what? Sensational what? Response. So and number 3 is there. So these 3 are based on what? Mechanism of what? Secretion. Mechanism of secretion. Okay, I'll rub it off now. Number 4 criterion, or the 4th criterion, is shape. Shape of what? Gland. Shape of what? Gland. Under shape of gland, we have tubular. Under tubular, you have okay, under this shape, you have tubular, you have areola. I don't call it areola, I can also call it what? Acina. And 3, we have tubular areola gland. Now this tubular gland, as the name implies, tubule, right? It is tube shaped lumen, all right? It is tube shaped what? Lumen. Okay, now this areola or acina, areola, sometimes they tell you that it's like a grape, or this acina is like what? A sac. So please, this type of areola or acina, you know, they are alveoli. Okay, now it's a type of what? Tissue, and this areola is sometimes called what? Grape shaped, and this acina is what? Sac shaped. Now the one that possesses both the tubular and the areola feature is called what? Tubular areola. So that is how it is. Then the 5th one is based on whether the gland is branched or not. Branched or what? Not. So under this one, we have the simple branched, we have the compound branched, we have simple straight what? Branched. There are examples of what? This 5th what? Criterion. As I said, we have 5 criteria. with which glandular tissue are what categorized. I said one, we have based on number of glands. Two, nature of what secretion. Three, mechanism of what secretion. Four, shape of gland. And three, whether the gland is branched or what straight. Okay, so again we now have I was about dropping something just now. We have types of glands. Types of what glands. There are two types of glands. We have just two types of glands. We have the exocrine. We have the exocrine gland. We have the exocrine gland. Oh God. And we have what? The endocrine gland. Now these endocrine gland are what? Ductless. They are ductless gland. This endocrine gland is what? Ductless. But this exocrine gland has what? Ducts. It has what? Ducts. Which means as soon as substances are what? Produced, it passes through these ducts. It passes through this duct toward a target organ. Example is what? The sebaceous gland, the sweat gland. The sweat gland has what? A tube. As soon as sweat is produced, it passes through this duct to the outer part of what? The skin surface, called what? The pore of what? The skin. Then you now have the endocrine gland. The endocrine gland is a ductless gland. And this endocrine gland, they actually produce what? Hormones. Okay, now as soon as these hormones are produced, they do not pass through what? Duct. They go straight to what? The target organ. But there's one gland that is very similar to the endocrine gland. It's called what? Paracrine gland. This paracrine gland is very similar to the endocrine gland, but the difference is that as soon as secretions are made, they get to their target organs through what? Diffusion. Please, as soon as secretions are made by this paracrine gland, they get to the target organ through what? Diffusion, and not by bloodstream. Please, it is similar to endocrine gland because it produces what? Useful substances. But the difference is that the secretions produced by paracrine gland get to the target organ through what? Diffusion. So please take note of that. It is very important. You now have different types of exocrine gland. We have different types of what? Exocrine. On a broad note, we have two types of gland: exocrine and what? Endocrine. The difference between exocrine and endocrine is that exocrine does not have ducts. Exocrine has ducts, but endocrine does not. Okay, and the difference between paracrine gland and endocrine gland is that the secretions produced by paracrine gland get to target organ through what? Diffusion. Okay, but as soon as secretions are made by the endocrine gland, they get to their target organ through the what? Bloodstream. So that is the difference between this and this. Take note of that. We have different types of exocrine gland. We have the simple gland. Now this simple gland is lined by what? Epithelial tissue. This simple gland is lined by epithelial tissue. This simple gland is lined by what? Epithelial tissue. Now this simple gland is now divided into three. One, simple straight tubular gland. Two, we have simple coiled tubular gland. And three, we have simple branched So these are the three examples under simple gland. We have simple straight tubular gland, we have simple coiled tubular gland, and we have simple branched tubular glands. This type are under what? Simple gland. But what I'm going to be giving us is the examples. I don't have time to start explaining. Now, examples of a structure that possesses the simple straight tubular gland is the crypt of Lieberkühn. Where are those markers? Example is what? The crypt of what? Lieberkühn, found in the colon of what? The small intestine. Example of a simple straight tubular gland is what? The crypt of what? Lieberkühn, found in the colon of what? The large intestine. Which of the following is the crypt of Lieberkühn found? Is found in the colon of the large intestine. Now you now have the simple coiled tubular gland. Example of simple coiled tubular gland is found in the dermis. Eccrine sweat gland. Alright, please. Simple coiled tubular gland is found in what? In the dermis, eccrine sweat gland. You know the eccrine gland is found in places such as the palm and soles of what? The feet. That if you have red skin, you should know what I'm talking of. So that is for that. So then the simple branched tubular gland is found in what? In the stomach. It's found in the stomach. Crypt of Lieberkühn is found in the colon, the small intestine. That is simple. And dermis, eccrine sweat gland is an example of a simple coiled tubular gland. Then the gland found in the stomach is usually what? Simple branched tubular gland. Take note of that. It is very important. Now let me conclude with this. If I have something like this, I have this. Now this idiot is called what? Simple. It's simple circular. This structure is what? It's too big. Please let me reduce it because of space. It's called what? Simple circular. Now this one that is not like this. Now this one is simple branched circular. Simple branched what? Circular. And this one is what? Compound circular. Compound what? Circular. Then this one is simple tubular. Simple tubular. You now also have one that is called what? Simple areola. I'll stop here. Simple areola is found in the alveoli of what? The lungs. I just want to show us something. So this one is what? Compound areola, okay? And this one is found in the alveoli of what? The lungs, okay? In the alveoli of what? The lungs. Alright, so at this point, we'll call it a day. Please, my next, God, I'm sweating. Okay. My next video is going to be on connective tissues. So at this point, we'll call it a day. Do have a wonderful day, and please endeavor to subscribe.